Hey YouTube, welcome back to New Rock City, the show that brings you a new guest each week, a new musical guest. We interview them and play their music videos. This week's going to be a little different. We got two guests. On Sunday, we're going to have Television Supervision from Tampa, Florida. And today we have an extremely special guest because it's our 10th episode, and somehow we got David Alexander from Carousel Kings. So thank you so much for joining us, David. I appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here, Steven. Thanks for having me, man.
You got a flight today, so I'm going to just jump right in, not waste your time. The first thing I wanted to ask you was so you started the band back in 2008 when you were only 17 years old. And many bands at that age, they don't take music very seriously. At what point did you guys realize that you wanted to do this as a career?
I always had sort of weird career goals. I think I was always a little bit on the extreme end. Starting with I think prior to wanting to be a musician, I always wanted to be like a professional wrestler, like a WWF. And that was like from maybe like second grade to like sixth or seventh grade. I was into that. And then it turned into like I wanted to be a football player. And then into high school, when I finally found the guitar, that's when I was just like, nah, I want to do this for the rest of my life, because this is, I'm hanging out with my friends, and
That's awesome.
what better job could you find where you're just hanging with your buds all day and creating stuff. So I knew pretty early on that I was going to do something, I want to say like odd, but I've always had like sort of extreme interests from that aspect, I guess.
That's cool, man. I was reading that your first show was actually the Battle of the Bands at your high school, and you guys
Yeah.
won by one vote. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For that show, did you play a song that ended up being on one of your albums?
Um, I don't think so. I think we did some cover stuff. I remember maybe one song. But at that time I remember we had to play cover songs because we were
Gotcha.
we were just trying to like fill the set basically.
I was also reading that you said Green Day's American Idiot album inspired you to try to play guitar and sing in a band. Did any of your guitar work make it onto the album?
Yeah, some of my guitar work made it on the album. I'm more of like so like I think the only song that I may have written like the whole thing with like Moonlight would be one. I wrote a bunch of Chainsaw. Um, I don't know. There's a bunch, but it's sort of scattered. I try to
Gotcha.
let the guys who are really good at guitar play the guitar parts. I kind of just come up with like
Like little
basic,
riffs here and there.
yeah, little riffs,
I
basic
gotcha.
progressions. But yeah, when I got into that American Idiot album, I remember I was a part of one of those CD clubs where you could get like
Oh
what
yeah.
20 CDs a month or
For a
something like
penny?
that. Yeah, yeah. So I would do that. And I was always just picking out, random stuff. And yeah, that album was really cool, man.
Nice.
Definitely inspired me.
Wanting to make a career out of something and actually doing it full time, that's two different things. What was the point in the band's history where you said, guys, this is it. We can do this. We made it.
Maybe the first time we went to, like, I guess our first like Warped was pretty cool. That felt like we were like doing it or making it. I don't know. And I think the first time we went to Japan, I think that the response there was very refreshing, and it gave us that feeling where it's like, all right, like, people do care, and
That's cool.
they're all the way, over here, what, a 14-hour flight away. So, but I mean, even now I feel even more confident in that, like, we can do this. Um, so yeah,
That's
I guess
cool.
that, yeah.
Well, that's a nice segue by what you said because the reason I ask is I read an article you did on June 17th, 2011, and you were asked if you could play any venue, what would it be? And you guys said, and I quote, Warp Tour. Yeah, that would be the ultimate if we can get on Warp Tour. So what I wanted to know is, what's it like for you now, looking back and you think about the days where you dreamed about being on Warp Tour to actually accomplishing that and seeing how far you've came? What's that like for you?
um it makes me want to set bigger goals. And try to see what else I can accomplish. I definitely believe in I got into this book called Think and Grow Rich, and it's all about sort of like kind of like the law of attraction stuff, but sort of just networking more, and definitely believing in yourself. and using your network of your buds basically to
Gotcha.
continue to excel. Um, I don't know. I try not to gloat too much at the past because I think I've made a lot of mistakes as well. But yeah, I don't know. It just makes me want to set bigger goals and keep
Gotcha.
going and see what else can be accomplished, I guess.
Very nice. Well, in that same interview, you guys told of an experience where you were on tour and you tried to pay at an Easy Pass station, and suddenly the van went into reverse, the doors broke. Uh, on that same trip, your tires popped.
Forgot about
So,
that.
so you guys went through some pretty hard times as a band. What was it that kept you fighting and kept moving forward?
Not really having anything else that I like to do. um,
Desperation.
yeah, for a while. I mean, for the first I mean from 17 up until like my mid 20s, I was working at this retirement home that I worked at like all through high school basically. They would let me leave for tours and then come back.
Okay.
So I was just dude, anything to get out of my dad's, I mean, where I was living at that time was with my dad and my crazy ass stepmom. So I was just trying to escape from them.
I want to take this time to play my favorite song by you guys. I wanted to play Glory Days. What can you tell us about that song?
That song, I'm pretty sure that my buddy Andrew Zell that I started the band with, he has like he helped on that one a bit. And I think Will wrote that with me as well. And yeah, that's a banger track.
Right on.
Um, but it's actually pretty cool. I actually wrote, I don't know. Like I said, I always keep my friends close, and Zell, even though he wasn't in the band for that song, it still ended up being on the album because I still just write with all my buds all the time. So yeah, I like that track.
Very cool. So I'm going to play this for everyone. So here is Glory Days by Carousel Kings.
At times I don't understand the answer when it's right in front of me. Acceptance is all you want, not cries of sympathy. You don't even know what it is that you've been running from. Guess it's hard to show, harder to control. I don't even know what you're thinking anymore. I can see everything you wanna say. It's written on your face. Devotion is all you want to see in me. Darling, please don't let me down. I'm not really trying to drown. You don't even know what it is that you've been running from. Guess it's hard to show, harder to control. I don't even know what you're thinking anymore. I scoop you up with an ego's perfection. I play my love with so skies of temptation. If you could only know, maybe we could go home. You don't even know what it is that you've been running from. Guess it's hard to show, harder to control. I don't even know what you're thinking anymore. I scoop you up with an ego's perfection. My prey, my love with so skies of temptation. If you could only know, maybe we could go home.
All right, welcome back, guys. David, you mentioned growing up that emo was a big influence on you. Um, and you grew up about 1.5 to 2 hours from New Jersey. And New Jersey was the epicenter of emo with bands like Senses Fail, My Chemical Romance, Armors for Sleep, Thursday, Midtown, Major League, the Gaslight Anthem, just to name a few, they all hailed from New Jersey. You would have been going to the same shows around the same time those guys started out. Did you know any of those guys before they got big?
Yeah, our first tour actually was with Major League.
Oh,
Uh,
right on.
I
That's awesome.
remember we broke down on Orange Blossom Trail on that tour, and the guys in Major League, they like kind of like saved our asses, man. Um, I remember being stuck at a Walmart after that, and we played football in the rain. It's funny, I
That's
just
so
saw
cool.
Brian post about that like just the other day. Um, I forget the other bands you mentioned, but I mean, the New Jersey bands I listened to. I mean, Census Fail was a big one for me. Thursday obviously was awesome. They were on Victory as well. Yeah, but I think those are the only guys that I like knew, I guess, before they did stuff.
That's pretty cool. I'm honored that you would take the time and be on my show, especially at such an early age, or early stage in the game. This is just my 10th episode, and you're making it very special. So thank you. It reminds me of a time when you said your biggest fanboy moment was when you met Rise Against. What was that
Yeah.
experience like for you?
It felt like one of those dream come true moments. Because we played just before them at Summerfest, and there were so many people there. So I'm just like, I'm kind of on like a high off of that because there's just, I don't know, the rush for me playing shows is something it's unlike anything else. So then to like meet him after that backstage was just, I don't know, I was sort of just in awe, and it's just super grateful and appreciative to have been able to meet him and share the stage with him. I grew up listening to those guys. Yeah, great band.
Nice. Now you have played with many big bands, and you've been in the game for a while. Do you still get nervous playing with bands like that you watched growing up?
I do. Yeah. I honestly I like playing live and it gives me that feeling, but I think part of the reason why it gives me that feeling is because I actually don't enjoy it as much as I like to let people think that I do. I've
Gotcha.
always been like sort of like a stage fright guy. I'm mostly shy. I'm pretty shy most of the time unless I know you. I think something about putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and then succeeding and making it through that, that I think that feeling makes me feel like I'm growing and I'm learning still.
Gotcha.
And I think the challenge of having to get up on stage and do something even if I don't feel like it, um I don't know, I think it's a learning process, and it's helping me become truer to who I am, I think, in a way.
That's amazing because you don't look nervous at all when you're on stage. Actually, one of the things that people comment the most about you guys are your stage performances and like the energy you give off. It's sweet.
Yeah. I honestly for years actually it was a real struggle for me to be able to sing, and like
Wow.
my voice would crack like in the early stages of us touring. I think I would always get down on myself because I wasn't really sure how to sing every night without damaging my voice.
Gotcha.
And then the times where your voice is just shot, you sound like a dying duck on stage. That's never fun for anybody, and that's happened to me a few, enough times that it made me want to get better at my craft. So, to hopefully prevent that from happening. So everything's a learning experience.
You guys have done some really cool things to stay connected with your fans. One of the things that I was looking at was a Q&A that you did on Reddit, and one comment stuck out particularly to me. A user said to you, "Grey Goose was one of the songs that helped me get over my alcoholism. And for that, I'm eternally thankful." What's it like for you knowing that your music has had such power, such powerful, meaningful, positive changes in people's lives?
It makes me feel a little less crazy. um, I think a lot of times, I mean, even for me, I think it's real easy to feel like you're alone in this world. And I think that connection, having that response, it makes me feel connected to that person more, and
Gotcha.
I think it allows me to be able to be more honest and more open about, whatever my issues are in songs, and not feel so uncomfortable, even though it is uncomfortable. I think honesty is really important. So yeah, I'm just glad that it can be received like that, and people do find some sort of good in it, because I mean, it makes me feel better to get that crap out. It's definitely a therapy for me, so I'm just glad that it's well received.
Awesome. I also heard that you considered writing a book on the concept of Grey Goose. Are you still thinking about that, or what happened with that book?
I probably need some, I don't know, a writing setup, I guess. But yeah, I thought about it, and I think the concept's still really cool. The Tin Man never had his heart. He didn't even really know what it was, but he was always searching for it. Um,
Yeah,
and
it's
I think
definitely a cool concept.
an alternate perspective from the Wizard of Oz point. I don't know who I have to talk to. Who did that movie? Warner Brothers or Columbia? Who knows? But I don't know. It could be cool.
Well, as we just talked, Grey Goose was one of the songs that's really helped out some of your fans, so I wanted to go ahead and play that. What can you tell us about making that song?
That song originally was a demo, um, and then we reworked it completely with my buddy Grant and Will, my guitar player. So to see the evolution of that song, like if I showed you the first version of it, it doesn't even sound, the only thing that's the same is really the melodies. So
Wow.
it's like we changed the music completely. Like I said, I can only write basic guitar. So, but it's cool to be able to do that. I think when I write like some sort of basic structure and then allow other people to, make it better. That's the kind of collaboration I really enjoy. So Grey Goose
Nice.
is a strong track, and definitely had a lot of solid heads behind it for sure.
Well, all right, man. So play that for everyone. So here's Grey Goose.
I've been thinking of giving up, 'cause every time I fill my cup, it goes away, my motivation. It's too bad you can't see through the shady lies that hide behind my eyes. I'm just a tin man searching for something that I've never had. You just could never get that. All alone.
right, welcome back to the show. You guys have had some incredible milestones, being on Warped Tour, signing with Victory, touring all over the world. You even said you've did yoga with Buddy from Senses Fail. So as a fan, I can say, oh, that's got to be the coolest thing, or that's got to be the coolest thing. But I want to know, on your perspective, is there an accomplishment that really stands out to you that you're most proud of, or which one means the most to you?
I think for me, it's been this past year, kind of like I made the decision to take full responsibility more and take more full control of whatever the future direction of the band is, and as well as my personal health. So for me, that's the best thing that's happened to me was this past year. As far as like the band, I'm just glad that it's still going, and then I still feel like I want to keep doing it.
What's been your favorite city to play a show in?
Favorite city, I would probably move to Japan and just play there all the time, because
That's
it's
cool.
sort of like a flashback. It feels like they're 10 to 15 years behind or something in the music scene, so they still love rock and roll, and
Oh,
I think
that's
that's
cool.
really awesome. And even if they don't know your lyrics, they're just yelling at you regardless, getting up in your face, and I think that's really cool. I think music is love, and I think love has no boundaries. And I think playing in a country like that is a prime example of how people can still be connected, even if we're culturally different or we look different or whatever. It's all about good vibes and trying to just spread love.
That's awesome, man. One time I spoke to Jesse from 10 Years, and he said, I've played in cities all over the world, but there's something special when coming back to Knoxville because it's home. You guys have also played all over the world. What's it like coming back to PA for you?
I really like Pennsylvania, especially Lancaster County, where I grew up. I think for me, I don't know if it's losing its luster a bit. I feel like I need to get out, sort of, but I definitely always love my home. I think coming home, and it's weird too, because I think all my friends in high school, everybody's moved away, or it feels
Gotcha.
like that. So a hometown show is always going to be a hometown show in a way, but um, I think home is where the heart is. So wherever that
Gotcha.
is.
I read that you credited some of the success of Charm City to flotation therapy. Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Actually, one of my best friends, who I actually live with, he runs two spas, one in
Oh, cool.
Westchester, Pennsylvania, and the other in Princeton, New Jersey. And yeah, I float all the time. It's
Nice.
it's really awesome, just chilling out. There's a sauna there too, so I do that. And I don't know, I think meditation is really important, or whatever you're into. You got to do something for your health for sure.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I've been floating since I met Matt, my buddy. Definitely changed my life, for
That's
sure.
cool. I gotta try that sometime, man. It sounds
Yeah,
awesome. I actually had not really heard of it until I started doing research for this interview. I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool.
yeah, I got into it a little bit with the Joe Rogan thing, and then I ended up meeting Matt at the time on Craigslist, believe it or not. He was looking for, they were just starting up their business, the East Coast Float Spa, and they were looking for local artists to partner with. You come float here, you let us know how the art goes, and then in exchange it's some sort of partnership. So I ended up meeting him at a Panera Bread. We had our first meeting. I told him about the band. I brought all my tour history and stuff, and we hit it off, and I started
That's cool.
floating. And yeah, the rest is history. I still work there sometimes, actually, when they need help.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So I want to play 3 more songs off of Charm City before I move on to your newer music. Now I wanted to play Bad Habit. Can you tell us about that song?
That was another one of those demo songs that,
Wow.
when it started out, it was more basic, and then it was rewritten with Grant McFarland, my producer, my bud. And yeah, cool track, banger track, another one of those like hashing it out, writing it, rewriting it type of thing. So yeah,
That's cool. All right, so here's Bad Habit.
I keep repeating the creases, I'm leaving my pieces home. This war is so tragic, and you're such a bad habit, busting on my forehead. Wish that I could forget. myself that I don't care, but the truth is my emptiness is the only thing that I still feel. What's real? What's wrong? What makes you so cold? I'll try my best to wrap my head around it. I still can't figure out where I went wrong. I heard you say you like it this way. I try my best to take control of this. I still can't figure out where I went wrong.
All right, welcome back to the show. So now I wanted to play two songs that are a little different so people can see the range of your music and get a feel for the diversity that you guys can bring as well. The next one I wanted to play is Here Now Forever. What can you tell us about that song?
So that was a Will Barovic, my guitar player. He actually wrote the music for that song when he was in high school for
Oh,
one
wow.
of his ex-girlfriends. And when he came over one day and started playing that riff for me. I really fell in love with it. At that time, I was kind of experimenting with I took some acid, and then I ended up just exploding. Basically, I felt like an explosion of emotion. And originally, when the melody was written, it wasn't even words. It was only some words and whatever the melody is. It's like I took the tab, I listened to his track all night, and it's like his guitar was singing to me what the melody should have been.
Wow.
And I can only hear certain words, so I filled in certain gaps. So it was kind of like gibberish, and then line that made sense, and then gibberish. And that's how it was tracked originally. And then my other buddy, or the ex guitar player, Carm, ended up helping to fill in the gaps, so to speak, the gibberish gaps, specifically verse 2, and wherever the other gaps were. So that was definitely a really cool team effort. And yeah, really cool track. I vibe with that one really hard.
Right on. All right, so here's Here Now Forever by Carousel Kings.
Sitting all alone on the long ride home. You were next to me, now we're both alone. Something that was said, getting in your head. Tumbling thought, now you're crumbling under me. Bodies turn away, nothing left to say. Progress isn't made, hearts are far away. I can feel the pain in you, drowning me. Why are you hiding it all from me? I start to think about how all I've ever wanted was you. And I would hold you in my arms until your heart could hear the truth. If you could be alone, you could be the one. Don't lie to me, don't lie to me. My eyes don't ever stray. It takes two hearts to open for love, but right now it's just me.
welcome back, guys. And the last song I wanted to play on that album was "Something Isn't Right Here." What can you tell us about that song?
That was a song I wrote. I guess most of the guitar. I want to say all the guitar, but I don't like taking credit. I'm pretty sure that was my baby. I wrote that song about my father. He passed away right in front of me of cancer in the living room. It was a super
Sorry to hear
traumatic. Yeah, it's all right. It was a super traumatic experience at the time, but I ended up to find out my stepmother at the time was schizophrenic, and I didn't know.
Oh,
And that's when I basically found everything out. Was like it was just a very dark time for me. Um, so yeah, that song basically just sums up that experience of, I was on tour. I got a call from my stepmom to come home early. I hopped on a train or a bus rather. I went home. My dad was super sick. He looked, he was so skinny, and
oh
it,
man,
it was it was really hard to come home to that. And then
that's rough.
she had put all my stuff outside the house, so like it was like she was kicking me out in the same time where my dad was like about to die. And I remember rubbing his head right before he passed, and then she starts freaking out afterwards, tried to like, resuscitate him and all that. But yeah, definitely big experience, and it felt good to get it out in a song form. And I don't wish that on anybody, but I think forgiveness is a big part of life. So, it is what it is.
Sorry you had to deal with that, but like you said, it was very therapeutic to get that out, and you made a great song about it. Here's "Something Isn't Right Here."
I took a bus home from tour early, just to watch you die in front of me. I hung around for a couple of weeks.
Something isn't right here, something isn't right.
Until your wife kicked me out and took everything.
Something isn't right here, something isn't right.
I think my confidence stems from finding common sense to think and grow my tree of life. We could design and have what's yours and my own. You cross my mind all of the time. Something isn't right. I've been living in this house my whole life. Something isn't right here. Something isn't right. What happened to my ride?
Welcome back to the show. Many bands write songs and then go into the studio. David, you were saying when you were making Charm City that you actually wrote some of the songs while you were in the studio, and you said you like doing so because your first thought, your gut feeling, is often right. So your newest album is called Plus Ultra. Did you also write some of those songs while you were in the studio?
Yeah, most of them. I
Really?
want to say most, if not all. Basically, Will and I, the guitar player, we hung out with Ricky Armelino, our producer, and we wrote every track together, just right then and there, basically. Um, and that was a really cool experience.
Wow.
Yeah, Will is very he's more of an improvised player, so it's
Okay.
real interesting to watch him do his thing. You could put him on loop, and he'll play something, and we're all like, "Dude, that was sick. Play it again." And he doesn't even remember how to play it or what he played. He has to listen to it back to try to
Oh, that's
um,
awesome.
fix it. So I think that versatility in him and like his talents, it allows us to be able to do that on the spot type of writing and still get something that's like super genuine and heartfelt and from the heart, from the gut, so to speak.
You'd kind of touched on it earlier in the interview, um, but I had read that you said over the course of the band's history, you've had like 20 people involved in the writing of Carousel Kings. That's amazing. How has the writing changed from the start of the band to now, the writing process? Is that still similar?
Um, yeah, I might have paraphrased that wrong. We've had over 20 members for sure. As far as writing goes,
Gotcha.
it's been less than that.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but now going forward, I'm doing my best to try to collab with as many artists as possible because I feel that's when I'm having the most fun is when I'm collabing with other creative minds. And honestly, it's been hard to find members that want to do music or want to create, trying to get people to just contribute anything is tough sometimes. So I've sort of stepped out of the box and started to collab more with others. So this next album, we already have, let me think, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe, or 8 people
I found
that have.
like 10 of different
Yeah,
guests. Yeah.
that was plus ultra, and I'm talking about I have four, the new
Oh,
stuff
oh,
that's
I'm sorry. You're talking
coming
about
out.
the brand new stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, those tracks. Oh yeah, plus ultra was pretty deep. We went pretty hard on the feature thing, and I think this next album is going to be like an even bigger step in that direction,
Gotcha.
for sure. Yeah.
One of those musical guests was Lexi, and that was the first time that Carousel Kings had a female vocal on it. How did that collaboration come about? That sounds pretty cool.
So I met Lex on a tour actually. I did a tour with a band called Gutter Life, and Lex was on that tour. Um, yeah, we hit it off. She's a really talented singer. I really love collabing with people, and it was great to have her on that track. She crushed her part.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I hope to include more people as often as I can. I think art is beautiful, and it's no reason to limit it to anything. So
In addition to all the musical guests that we talked about, Plus Ultra also experimented with different instruments. You guys have a saxophone, a ukulele. It seems like it was a lot of fun making this album. And when speaking of this album, David, you said that it's your best work. That's a big statement. So after making an album like that and raising that bar so high, does it add extra pressure on the next album, or what's your mindset going into this new album that you're working on?
I mean, it definitely raises the bar, but I'm always trying to set bigger goals. Um, it makes me want to go further in the direction of the collabing thing. Like if we had 10 different artists on plus ultra, maybe we can have more than that on the next one. Just sort of be ridiculous at that point. But um yeah, it just makes me, I just want to write really good songs, man. I don't really care like if what genre it is. For me, and actually I just watched Bohemian Rhapsody
Oh, nice.
last night, and I think that kind of hit home with me when they were making a Night at the Opera album.
Mm.
How they, I feel like that album in particular, every song is sort of its own thing. You know that there's different songwriters behind that. Each guy contributed his, this song or that song, and then even vocally, there's different vocals on that album. And I think that that's sort of the direction I want to continue in, if whatever that means. Just
That's
just
cool.
write good songs. We already have saxophone on the new stuff too, so.
So I want to play a couple songs off your new album so people can hear that. I wanted to play Codebreaker. Can you tell us about that song?
Yeah, Codebreaker. That's a Willie B track. He ripped that guitar pretty hard. The music video was really fun to film for that one. That was actually a treatment that I wrote up and presented to the Victory crew, and then they crushed the ideas
Nice.
100%. And I think from that aspect, it was really cool to be, a little more creative and involved in not just the song, but the video as well.
All right. Well, here is Codebreaker.
The harder I try, the easier it gets to believe you. The longer I wait, I think about it less and less every day. The joke is on you, I don't care if you sue. You shoot no soul, completely out of control. What is your goal? What is your goal? When you leave me on my own, baby, I used to like it when you smiled. But baby, I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in a while. The higher I fly, the easier it gets to receive you. The longer I stay, I stress about it less and less every day. The code is in view, we can't go to the moon. You still with no soul, completely voiding the toll. What is your goal? What is your goal? When you leave me on my own, baby, I used to like it when you smiled. But baby, I haven't seen you in a while. 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 Baby, I used to like it when you smiled. But baby, I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you in a while.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Another really good track off that album is Truth Seeker. What can you tell us about that song?
Truth Seekers, that was another Willie B thing. We were definitely going for we want to see if we can capture like the pop punk vibe a little more. We drop tuned the guitar for that one. Had my buddy Matt from Gutter Life do the vocal on the bridge part for that song. Yeah, it's definitely one of the fun tracks, or the more fun to play too. It's very bouncy, and I love the drop tune guitars. So I think
Awesome.
that thick sound is always fun.
So here is the track Truth Seekers by Carousel Kings.
That was then, and this is the start of it. And my mind is the heart of it. Pushing airwaves in your face, it's the 8th grade. You should think with your mind a bit to resolve what your brain resists. Using words that you frame to depict the truth and lies on the airwaves. All I really want from you is a little bit of truth. I calculated every move. I love the idea of you. It's the little things you do. I'm calculating every move to try and get to you. I'm still the ace in this deck of cards that you can't resist. Play your hand in this game a bit. Fold them face down on your face flat every day. You should walk on the line a bit to forget what your mind insists. Using lines that don't rhyme instead. From truth that hides on the airwaves. All I really want from you is a little bit of truth. I calculated every move. I love the idea of you. It's the little things you do. I'm calculating every move to try and get to you. Except when it's not you, and I'm seeing straight through you. The mood is all blue, prints in my eyes while I'm staring at the skies. I hardly even see we, even though you used to be what could complete me. With all of these obscenities, I gotta leave the scenery to focus on a new me. All this talk about futures and destinies, but I know how you'll be. You'll never rest in peace. Another life, maybe see you in hell. Probably another chapter I'll tear out and burn to keep warm in this cold bloody murder of my feelings. I'm not the enemy that you pretend I be. Still at my funeral, you'll read my eulogy. Not every fairy tale ends with a prince of me. All I really want from you is a little bit of truth. I calculated every move. I love the idea of you. It's the little things you do. I'm calculating every move to try and get to you.
All right, welcome back. So the last part of the show, I just got a couple questions. So we kind of touched on how you're working on new music right now. You are going to keep experimenting, bringing in some more guests. As a whole, what can fans expect from the future of Carousel Kings?
More albums for sure. We did sign to it's not necessarily a label, but we did partner with a label out in LA recently, and
Oh,
that's
nice.
not public yet, but we're excited for the future more than ever now. Yeah, the future's definitely bright. We're gonna be putting out music this year for sure. And hopefully if we can do an album a year in the next 4 years, that'd be ideal.
That would be cool.
As far as touring goes, I'm not counting the eggs before they hatch. I don't really know what's going on with the world, right
Yeah.
now, and I'm not really too concerned about it. I've toured and seen seen enough. I kind of like being able to chill at home at this point. So,
Gotcha.
if a big tour came up or whatever, we got a sick offer, obviously I would take it. But aside from that, I'm just ready to just write as many songs as possible and
Awesome.
try to just spread whatever kind of, joy or emotion or whatever that I can, because I think that's what I'm here to do, is create. So
Right on. Well, the last part of the show, what I do is ask all my guests, what would you like to say to your fans?
Try to love yourself. I learned the hard way that if you don't love yourself, it's kind of hard for other people to love you.
Gotcha.
And yeah, try to forgive if you can. And don't ever hold yourself back either. You got to believe in yourself. And I think confidence is a big part of that. Try to find something that you love to do, something that brings you genuine joy, and just do that. Don't try to follow some crowd or whatever. Whether it's my mom wants me to go to college, or my dad wants me to play this, do this or that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just you gotta live for yourself. And I think once you finally figure that out, I think things start to click a bit and start to make sense in hindsight a little more.
That was all. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I appreciate you coming on. I just want to remind everyone, Carousel Kings, you can find them on all streaming platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go check them out. David, this was really awesome. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you, Steven.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too, man.